time is treated literally like money. Like money is really, really time for these people. It's just so incredible how quickly they can get through bullshit and they can get the truth. I look at Ireland here and I'm like, wow, we are so sluggish. You know, we are super, super different in business. We are all about like 80% talking tea and then 20% business.
Yeah.
Whereas over there, it's 2% talking tea and 98% talking business.
I remember one of the introductions, I literally was on a call within 35 minutes of the first introduction over an and I was like, I love this pace.
It's actually like so weird coming back to Ireland because it's super slow all of a sudden.
This episode is brought to you by the Local Enterprise Office, Galway City. One of their amazing grants that Eric and I know very well is the Grow Digital Grant.
This new and improved grant is focusing on improving customer experience and operations of your business. It allows you to introduce softwares to boost increased efficiency and for your business to remain competitive in the marketplace.
So Eric and I, over the years, have seen this grant help tens, if not well over 100 businesses, because especially when you're starting the digital journey, it can be one, very intimidating, and two, it can be quite expensive. So this really allows people to bring a consultant in to advise them, and we'll tell a story or two about what we've seen on that because we've actually been on the consultant side, and then also pay for those softwares. So allow businesses to bring in the best in-class technology, be able to pay for it, and then be able to make themselves more efficient and improve the customer experience because the landscape of business is only getting more and more competitive. So
absolutely. One of the case studies that stands out to me is when we went to business, a local fruit and veg distribution business. And during the COVID pandemic, they actually were in dire need of a consultant coming in and flipping their business around to go from business to business trade to try to switch on to business to consumer or direct to consumer trade. So they approached us with, urgency to really flip their digital edge and for them to remain competitive in the market while accessing, help of the local enterprise office. And we actually collaborated with the local enterprise office and this business, and we built them a web shop business and certain softwares we added to their business as well that allowed them to get, veg from their production line all the way to the consumer's house. And this was done within the matter of weeks. I found it really, really efficient, the whole process, and for us to be able to help that business and for that business not to, pay 100% of the cost and for that business to enjoy 100% of the value was a real key defining factor for them to allow continuity in business and for them to remain competitive. And, this has been a couple of years ago, but now I know for a fact they're still using that system and they are continuously asking for improvements and investing, as it has been a great proof of concept for them. It has been a great starter pack for them to kind of get going on this. And, I think they're expanding continuously on this.
The other case study that jumps to mind for me is that, well, actually in that first example as well, they literally said, this is a business of over 30 years. They said they would have actually
40 years, yeah, right.
They said they would have actually gone under, their business would have stopped trading if they didn't have that digital step. So it literally was a lifeline for this business. So again, this is really, really important, and the grants offered by the local enterprise office can be super valuable. The other one that jumps to mind is a legacy business. They're over 25 years in business, a waste company, and they were looking to introduce a B2C model as well. So they were looking to have a drop-off service so they're able to increase their revenue and diversify their income so they weren't just dependent on their big customers. Now, again, they would have thought initially they weren't really applicable for digital because they're an older business, it's waste, people wouldn't want to engage. But on day one, they had over 50 people coming off their drop-off service, and that was all through using the online services. So again, it became a real revenue stream for them, and they began to build out digital for their internal operations as well. So I really feel like this is a really good step one into really evaluating the value of digital and having that hand-holding from a consultant to really go, okay, let's be really purposeful with this money. So again, a grant that Eric and I have seen over and over and over again work really well, and we're actually very passionate about. So we'd strongly recommend reaching out to the Galway City LEO office about this grant because we really see it transform businesses.
Absolutely.
For more information how you can avail of grants and other supports from the Local Enterprise Office Galway City, go to localenterpriseoffice.ie/Galway for more information. Now back to the podcast. Welcome back to another episode of Built from Scratch. This is episode 31. My name is Daragh. This is my co-host Eric. Eric, we're back for another weekly episode. It's been a while.
We're back, yeah. It's been just a little bit of radio silence over the past few weeks. But we actually did record last week. It's just James was a little bit slow sending over the footage. But hopefully next week we're going to get that out.
Yeah. Do you want to introduce yourself quickly before we get stuck in?
Yeah, absolutely. Just in case you haven't seen me, which I'm sure you have with all our shorts. My name is Erik. I'm 25 years old. I run two companies. One is Grafton Digital, where we do digital transformations for enterprise companies and in Ireland and the US. And then the other one is Olive for Education, where we're supplying and managing hardware and software for post-primary K-12 schools for anybody in America. We've been doing that for the last 18 months in EdTech. And Grafton, Daragh and I co-founded back in 2018. And that's just a little bit about me.
Yeah, my name's Daragh. I'm 24 years old. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Magnate. Magnate, we are this super intelligence for professional services companies. So we plug into all the communication channels, bring it all into one place, and turn all that chaos into nicely fine-tuned organizations. So currently doing that. We're middle of fundraising at the moment, and then we're co-owner with Eric in Sky Park. We're a car park based in Galway City. You can pre-book online exclusively, and you get great views of Galway Bay.
Brilliant views and a bit of gust of wind as well when
Especially
the weather
winter.
is regularly terrible in Galway.
Yeah.
I forgot how terrible it is. Just like even like the last few days, I'm like every day it's like grey skies, and then you're going in the car and then you're on a call and you just see the windscreen wiper and you're like, oh my God, why am I here?
Yeah.
You know, I'm just kind of getting sick of this weather. So Dublin, it's always sunny.
Yeah,
it's only
crazy.
the west of Ireland here that it's just been like regularly terrible.
It's crazy, isn't it? The difference of like, a couple hundred kilometers.
Couple hundred kilometers, yeah, absolutely. So I would definitely prefer the sun climate. I keep reminding myself that, and for some reason I keep coming back to the west of Ireland. So I don't know what it is. Is it me problem? Is it?
It's your love for Curfin.
It's my love for Curfin, absolutely, absolutely. Like, who doesn't want to live in Curfin?
Me.
You know, yeah, I know, but like, you don't know what's good for you. It's until you don't have it.
Totally. So, do you want to give a bit of an insight into why we have not been online or we haven't been recording as regularly?
Yeah, we've been busy. Definitely busy. We've been abroad. Daragh and I. It's funny. So Daragh, I think the last podcast episode was about just going back to Grafton, and we will continue that series.
Yeah.
But it's kind of just the plans changed, right? And Daragh went over to New York. What date did you go over to New York?
22nd of July, I think.
22nd of July. I was thinking it was towards the end of July. Daragh went over to New York and to fundraise for Magnate, where they're building a really cool AI tool. And yeah, you've gone over, and then within a week or so, I missed him so much that I decided to come over too. That's what we say to people, but it was also out of last minute momentum on an opportunity to go over there and fundraise for Grafton Digital as well. And so we were both over in New York fundraising, which is very cool.
Yeah.
It was like kind of, yay, let's go.
Yeah. Starting to have a classroom in Clare, Galway, here in our little local village in Galway.
Yeah.
Both of us in New York, running around to investor meetings.
Running around to investor
Very
meetings.
surreal.
Yeah, absolutely. I was probably luckier in the sense of I didn't have to go to too many people, because actually I reached out to one of our customers in New York who's a really, really cool guy overall. And I asked him for a little bit of advice on, I had an ambition there towards the end of June to acquire a company in Dublin. And I was just going through the whole process of looking at what this will look like. And all of a sudden the deal got really serious, and I've asked him for advice because he is in this sort of space of investing, and everything around business. He's just had, like decades, ahead of me on this. And I said, hey, I'm looking for advice around how to do this because I've never done this. And he was like, he called me 20 minutes after and he said, I'm interested. I'm like, oh, that's really cool.
Yeah.
All of a sudden I'm like, this makes it really, really cool. So the conversation expanded, And then just literally a week after, I was over my grandmother's 80th birthday.
Yeah.
Like, and in Romania, and like literally was just there. And then I flew back to Ireland on a Monday, and I was in New York on a Wednesday. So came over, and it was, how do I say it? It was an unforgettable experience of, this is where probably like somewhat preparation really met at the right time with the right people, and just everything hit right on the piano here. Just it was just a perfect sound, and went over with unsure of how this is going to exactly play out, because it's business. It could go your way, or it might not go your way, and I've had a very, very unbelievably positive experience from both learning, from both validation, from both how to even think now bigger all of a sudden. It was really, really cool. So I would 10 out of 10 recommend anybody to ask for advice, and you don't know what will come out of it. And it's definitely something where I've had this relationship for 2.5 years now, and I would have never thought that this could exactly happen, and it did. And I was like, wow, I can't mention the partners online, but just some really, really interesting people who've had experiences that I cannot even describe how valuable it is to, contribute to my growing but still at early stage business career, compared to someone that's been on around the block, and like the guys have built, sold and built over 300 businesses, which is like,
it's crazy.
That's a big number to write 300 checks and to get. Hopefully, I hope they got more than 300 checks back.
Yeah,
right.
It is interesting, and I know obviously just for anyone watching, like obviously Eric's just watching his words right here, because obviously deals being signed, confidentiality, all that sort of stuff. So again, Eric, I think the main thing walking into this podcast is that Eric's going to try and share as much as he can do without obviously not
giving too much.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And not violating obviously trusted partners then as well.
Absolutely, and because just the partners here have they do have a very big privacy circle, and I will be sharing my experience going through how I've acquired this company, and I will try to give as much details, but I am under NDA around that as well, so I can't really give any information at the moment, but I will be reflecting upon the experience, on the challenges, how it worked, and everything really, just probably in a couple of months, so I will bring that back up. But it's a really cool experience, but I'm not going to curse, but I'm like, it's like so intense.
Yeah.
It is really intense, because this is where you need to put on your big boy shoes, and you need to do like a lot of paperwork, due diligence, auditing. You need to really, really watch what you do, because it can affect the next 10, 15 years of business. So besides that, I've had a great time in New York, meeting some cool people, and then it was just like straight back to business here. So and you've had quite an experience in New York as well.
Yeah, like I suppose I went over. I went over for 5 weeks. 3.5 weeks in New York and a week and a half in San Francisco. And I suppose what I was going over for was kind of a couple-fold. Was one was fundraising, so starting to build out a kind of an investor network. Two was then starting to meet with channel partners. So with Magnate, our two kind of main channels of distribution is going to be private equity, and it's going to be resellers. So agencies using the software and then obviously then reselling it then as their trusted person. And again, I'll get into something a little bit later in the episode around how AI companies are struggling to get through the noise and win trust, especially software like this that has such access to such sensitive information. So yeah, they were the main two things. I had an absolute blast. I probably had over 100 plus meetings in 5 weeks. It was absolutely insane.
You've had quite a calendar.
Yeah, and I met some really.
You were at a meeting like every hour on the hour, running around.
I was running around Manhattan, and anyone who was in Manhattan around that time, like humidity hit up to 40 degrees Celsius.
It was hot.
I would walk outside the door, and I just started bucketing sweat. I was just sweating, like walking up and down fucking 50th Street. But it was a really cool experience. Got to meet some amazing founders, investors,
You've met some big hitters, by the way.
Yeah, like definitely, like I suppose, like over time we'll definitely, like once the fundraiser is closed, I'll definitely will, lean in a little more to that. But like it's really interesting because the investor net. So there's obviously two. There's like we're talking to three different types of people. So it's angel investors, which are just people who've done very well, have a lot of money. Family offices, which obviously then they're like an investment vehicle for very rich families that are investing in different assets. And then VCs, which are venture capital firms. So they are obviously brokers of money, but like just getting to meet, all of them need warm intros. So the big thing in the US is that most people won't meet you from a cold message. You have to network.
Have someone walk you in the door.
That or they won't meet you. I'd say 95% of all my meetings are warm intros. So
It's crazy how you've gotten 100 intros.
yeah.
If you actually break it down, you've got 100 introductions.
And it was funny, like one of the meetings I had at the very end in San Francisco, I was on Sand Hill Road, which is the most famous street in Palo Alto or Silicon Valley. This is like where all the big VCs are. It's all one street. And I met one person there. He was one of the first hires for Google back in 2002, but he was 4 degrees of separation away from the first person I met. So the person I got introduced to originally was 4 introductions away. So I met 4 different people inside one.
Just till you get to the...
Yeah. And he was excellent. He's been in the game investing or whatever, and part of some sovereign wealth funds as well. Really excellent dude, great mind in technology. But it was surreal sitting in rooms with people that have been involved in very early days in just huge companies and all these people. And it's funny that the network is very small. Like once you get into the tech scene, you get into the VC scene. Everyone kind of knows each other. Even though there is about
it's a tight circle.
Yeah, even there's about 3,000 venture capital firms across the US. So it was incredible. But so we did raise some money. Round's not closed yet. Like I suppose our main thing now is, and the big thing I suppose one of my takeaways from this is that from an investor standpoint, we want people on board really early. They're going to help us win, and we're bringing on investors primarily that are going to be customers of ours and resellers of ours, or on the private equity side, because everyone early days, like there is a such thing as an unfair advantage for a business when it starts. So obviously as an entrepreneur, you start the idea and you have the problem and you create the solution. But there is an ability to have an unfair advantage. Like some of our advisors have built out a reseller program for companies doing billions of dollars a year. And then advisors of some of the biggest private equity firms on the planet are people owning private equity firms. That's an unfair advantage. So in business, when everything's stacked against you in early days, I've really looked at trying to bring as many investors in as possible that one hits the money that we need to give us 18 to 24 months of runway, but secondly, then it gives an unfair advantage on the sales side because, once you start getting rolling, companies start using it, they start recommending it, especially in professional services, things can start rolling really quickly.
Absolutely.
So it was really, really good. It was worthwhile getting away from home for 5 weeks and really focus on that. So
absolutely, and I think like it's you have to also kind of respect that it's like these things don't really happen like this. Yeah. And like for like 5 weeks, the people you spoke to and the introductions you've gotten, and you even spoke to really high net worth individual sister as well. Yeah. When that came through that email, we were all like, "Whoa, that is really really cool." Like I would say everybody in the world knows that surname.
Yeah. So like I spoke to the sister. I won't get too many details. They're an investor, but their sibling is one of the most well-known entrepreneurs on the planet.
On the planet. Yeah. And I was just like when that email came through and it was like just putting your name in an email was like Daragh and whatever. Yeah. I was just like, oh my God, that is so crazy. Really cool.
That was like day 4 in America as well. It was like, what is this place?
We were just like, oh my God, like what is Daragh doing? Who is he meeting?
Yeah, it's crazy. And the beautiful thing is that once that door is open, so they don't invest this early, but with the relationship is there.
They're now watching.
Yeah.
And you have a direct email line. Yeah. And you're not going to their spam.
No.
You're going straight into the inbox.
Not even their PA either. You go straight to them.
Oh yeah, that's another thing.
Yeah, PAs can be guard dogs.
It's like the receptionist. They're always there to like just make sure they filter through
stop
the
people like me. But no, it was really
you're just like, hello.
that was crazy. I'd respect it because I do see them passing the partner down the lines. I don't start airing it out, but absolutely.
I can't wait to talk about it a bit more in like probably a year's time.
Yeah.
Because it was definitely cool. When I seen that name come up, I was like, sorry, can I just see that name again?
Yeah. The introduction was crazy, and then they were like, "Oh, this is an interesting company. Like, we're interested in coming into this." And I was like, "Whoa, that's so crazy."
But and some couple of the commitments you've gotten as well of like these firms that are globally like some of the top, and these top dogs are like, "Whoa, we love you, Daragh. We love the product. We love this. Come on."
Yeah.
get to here and we talk to us again.
No, it's really cool. And then on the VC side and some of the investor front is that like even some firms that don't come in this early, that the warm intro is done, relationship is there, and like I suppose anyone who's fundraising, the big one for me now is that anyone who is in too early is that probably just get like quarterly updates now. So like you just keep the relationship going, and it's one thing you said in the opening which got you your investment opportunity, which was a whirlwind of 10 days. I remember just talking to you every day, and it's just crazy the speed. It's one thing about America is in business they just move so quickly. There's no lag.
There's zero lag,
Yeah.
and in Ireland, like we'd start a phone call by asking about the weather or like talking about someone's birthday last week or whatever. I was in the car yesterday driving back from Dublin back to Galway, and one of the investment associates called me, and one of the partners was on the line. Just they were in the car as well, and it was like 22 seconds of a call, 22 seconds of a call, and then it was just like there's no buy, nothing. It's just you could just get hung up on.
Yeah.
Like it's like time is treated literally like money.
Yeah.
Like money is really, really time for these people, and it's just so incredible how quickly they can get true bullshit, and they can get the truth, and just the frameworks they have for making a move or doing business is just incredibly inspire. What's the word? I aspire to be very close to that in the. I can see myself from in the next 10, 20, 30 years. I'd love to take, a small bit away with me on how they do business, the way they really, go through with deals. It's just incredible.
Yeah.
It's like I look at Ireland here and I'm like, wow, we are so sluggish.
Yeah.
We are super, super, super different in business.
Yeah.
And probably, respect to anybody that doesn't apply into that category, but just in my world of business here in the agency space and in the edtech space, we are all about like 80% talking tea and then 20% business.
Yeah.
Whereas over there, it's 2% talking tea and 98% talking business.
Yeah, like I remember like even like I'm arranging meetings now for rollouts of Magnate or like just the scope call before rolling out. And it's always, a week's time or 2 weeks time. And that's just
this is like, are you free this evening?
No, literally, it's like, are you free in 2 hours to talk? I just got introduced. I remember one of the introductions, I literally was on a call within 35 minutes of a first introduction over an email.
Yeah.
And I was like, I love this pace. It's so infectious.
It's actually like so weird coming back to Ireland because it's super slow all of a sudden. Yeah. And that's why like my phone now between like 6 p.m. and 10 p.m. I get like, Eric, hurry up.
Yeah.
Like, what's the hold up here? Why are the Irish like systems so slow?
Yeah.
Like, we want to do this quicker.
Yeah.
And it's like, there's no like, it's like, do it quicker. Not can you, not will you, it's do it quicker.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, well, I'm on it.
Yeah.
So it's incredible, truly.
It makes your day slightly longer at the moment.
It does. But that's, look, again, it's a really favorable position to be in. To have, partners that invest in your vision.
Yeah, agreed.
Like two things I have heavily taken away for this short fundraiser experience. Because for Grafton Digital, we've never fundraised.
No.
So this was the first time we fundraised for Grafton. Two things I've taken away. One, you need backers. Quality, not quantity.
Yeah.
A lot of people have money. A lot of people don't have a network.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't have leverage.
Yeah.
You need people that will back your vision and back you. And instead of all the time increasing your pool of investors or your pool of people, you should just be really, really focusing on getting that one or two investors in who can actually really put you through the whole system, or have the next roller deck of investors that they can bring on for any bigger checks coming up for your requirements to grow. The second thing is, true investors are not worried about valuation or how quickly will you give my money back. They're worried about they're interested for you to keep using their capital to grow, and even like I was thinking of like, what about payback? Like that will hurt your growth. If you try to pay back too quickly, Eric, that will hurt your growth.
Yeah.
I'm like, wow, this is so weird, because it's like I've kind of been used to institutional finance or institutional investment, which means you have to pay back with a return on investment in a certain time frame, or else you're starting to lose equity, or you're starting to gain, just you're starting to lose, right?
Yeah.
Whereas here it's like, no, we are giving you capital, we're giving you our attention, we're giving you everything to grow and to succeed. I'm like, I love hearing this. This is so favorable for business.
Yeah.
You know, and even like some of the investors I know you have now, like they will back you for the next decade.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? As long as you're like meeting their their expectations and everything, and you're being a fair partner.
Yeah.
They like some of those names. I'm like, bro, they're gonna back you all the way for decades to come.
100%. And like you definitely want, like, if you can have the right mix of like skill set and like background, Rolodex of their contact book, and money. Like it's just like, and like your partners obviously have fallen like perfectly in that line.
And you know what? It's just also like I know this sounds very like, it's what's the word when everyone uses it?
Cliche.
This sounds very cliche, but by God, you kind of need to be like have a friendship or a matter of trust.
Yeah.
And a direct line. That's where like I got really excited when it's like, you can actually really connect.
Yeah.
And just, I'm not saying we're friends, but there's just that level of trust and respect of friendship. It's a baseline of friendship, and I can now say, I can call in good times and bad times. They actually want calls during bad times.
Yeah.
Like I've heard a story of like when one of the partners who's now in our company, he was starting a massive business, and they were doing really well at the time, right? And the guys together were like, one of the guys invested in the other guy, and that's how they became friends.
Yeah.
And he called him and he's like, how is business today? And like the guy had quite a few locations on the go at a time. And he's like, yeah, business is fine. Just missed payroll. I just bounced 500 checks. But business is fine. How are you? And he was like, what? How did you do that?
Yeah.
Like, how did you get to that stage of, and it's just funny. It's like, and he said to me, he's like, Erik, if you are not sleeping on the floor or walking at night because you're like stressed out about, am I in the wrong? Am I in the right? Am I, why don't I have any money to pay this? Like, and like, I've got to, but I believe in it. It's coming. It's coming. If you're not in there, you're not playing the game.
Yeah.
And it's like, this too. It's like, by God, like a lot of times entrepreneurs show the achievements and everything, LinkedIn, right? But like behind the scenes, there's some serious, like stressful moments and, things to do. And, I was very, very like lucky to even spend an hour going from, the investors' office and house back to New York. And, just like we got a chance to like have a bit of a car chat. I think a car chat is like really, really cool. And the small bit of knowledge you just learn off these people is like absolutely crazy.
Yeah.
My two favorite takeaways from that car conversation was, when starting a business, or if you're already in business, find a buyer that you think would buy you or you want to get bought by.
Yeah.
Because then you can make all the decisions between now and that point of purchase that will fit the buyer.
Yeah.
So he was talking in the respect of potentially Nike acquiring him.
Yeah.
So he was like, when people were coming into his business to like put like posters to advertise in the business or to do anything like this, like brand deals or any sort of deals, he always asked, would Nike like to have, posters on the walls of a business they acquire, And that's how he was able to make some decisions that allowed him to be probably better positioned to be a purchase in, whatever time to come. That was like the first big thing of like, oh, I've never even thought of identifying a buyer or making friends with buyers, but, look at that and then try to work towards that.
Yeah.
And like, you don't have to sell or, they don't have to buy you, but if like they're the biggest in the game, like why don't you position yourself that you're somewhat attractive to them in years to come?
Yeah.
Or you poke the bear long enough and hard enough, they might actually listen to you.
Yeah.
Thought it was very insightful. And the second part he explained, so they obviously have private equity business themselves, and they get involved in quite a few businesses. And he said the worst trait of business owners is they treat their business like a classroom. And it's a very bad, in business, it's a very bad human nature intent of there's always 2 pupils out of 15 that struggle. And business owners like to spend most of the time, and teachers like to spend most of the time helping the students that struggle. Same thing in the departments of businesses. Businesses try to save all the time the departments that are not performing, or the services or the product or the idea that's not there because they don't like the word failure or loss or cut.
Yeah.
You know, it's a hard decision. So he's like, I'm probably a terrible teacher, but I'm a really good businessman. And I will go to those 2 students and say, you need to go to another class.
Yeah.
And please leave my classroom.
Yeah.
And I was like, that makes so much sense. And I can reflect 1,000 times where I couldn't actually physically take that loss of either firing someone or changing a department or letting go of a goal because it just was not working. It's like you have to let go of those 2 students. You have to make that decision and focus on everything else that's working.
Yeah.
Why are you focusing on things that are not working?
Yeah.
Seems so logical. But I put my hand up straight away and I'm like, I do this all the time.
It's really common. Yeah, really. Because humans we're designed to find the flaws in things and
try to fix it.
And as entrepreneurs, you're just trying to fix problems.
And he's like, that's so interesting. He's had a buddy who's been trying to solve this for a decade, and he called him and said, hey, like, I'm really struggling. He's like, why are you focusing on a loss making? 2 departments are loss making, 5 departments are profiting.
Yeah.
You're spending the profit to fix those 2 losses.
Yeah.
What are you doing, man?
Yeah.
You know, and
Back of the barn.
Take out the gun, boom.
Yeah. No, totally.
That's what separates like a good business person to a bad business person, is being able to call those bad shots.
Yeah.
You know, and being able to kill that really quickly. Because you're spending so much money. And I actually see this from like one of our buddies who has multiple restaurants. How many times did he say like, oh yeah, well, I'm going to keep investing into this, and then he had to close the restaurant? Well, he's not going to get any of that investment back.
No.
You know, and I'm not saying treat a business like a profit and loss account, because that's just a time, you know, and a place in time. But you have to be able to tell once something is working and something isn't working.
Yeah.
And I found those 2 pieces are very good takeaways. You know, for an hour in the car, I was like, wow, that was like genius stuff.
Yeah, no, and he's an incredible track record. I need to wrap up shortly, but I'm going to give one lesson because I think your lessons are really valuable. One lesson I've learned from you recently, and then in the next episode we can go more into some of the stuff I learned about fundraising, seeing the landscape and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, we're going to come back regularly.
Yeah,
again. Yeah, so we're not gone. We just like. Was that 2 weeks we didn't post?
1 week.
1 week. Okay, we're not even that bad.
Yeah. The one I learned from you and I really leaned into is not even just purely because you got the opportunity for investment through asking for advice, but you'd be so fast when you face a problem to pick up the phone to 3 or 4 people that you think would have an opinion on it and just ask them. And I think I'd be a serious fiend for just put my head down and just like, I'll just figure it out. I'll figure it out. But you're actually leaving all this opportunity to build a relationship with people that are excellent in their spaces and can only more than happy talk about what they're excellent at and really good at. And like, again, like not necessarily even from an investment or even a customer standpoint, but just building relationships with people in the space. You just never know what opportunities. And I think yours is a perfect example of you asked for advice on something you want to go and do yourself, but you just weren't sure how to structure it correctly, or someone that's done so many goddamn deals that they just know this inside and out. And I think it's a perfect example of you spent 2 years building that relationship. You kind of keep tapping. You did really good work for them as a supplier, and then eventually they invested because you were so good. And I think it's one I've personally taken away and I'm really leaning into. Is I'd be a bit more introverted than Eric would be, but so it's really making the effort to reach out, to send that voice note, to pick up the phone, ask the question, even if it's only a 22-second call or it's a 2-minute phone call. It's like, hey, have this question, what do you think? And they're like, XYZ. I'm like, that's excellent, thank you so much for your time. Back down again. 100%,
but you have to remember the reason this works, because the best problem solvers in the world are business people.
Yeah.
It's not scientists, it's truly business people are the best problem solvers. the rest of people help those problem solvers make it happen. You know, so it's like if you really want to solve a problem, and that's a good way of putting it, of it does build relationship and connection. Of course it does, because it's like, here, can you come to the trenches with me for 2 minutes?
Yeah.
And then people usually love that. Like, most business owners love solving other people's problems.
Totally, yeah.
You know, it nearly gives that, like, yes, I still have it.
Yeah.
You know, in them. And I think that keeps people sharp. It helps you, you help them. And it has this weird token of, let me help you twice, and then one day you'll help me back.
Yeah.
You know, and it's just that and I would argue that Grafton Digital was built on relationship ROI.
Totally.
And that's what the 8 years always was, is there was been relationship ROI, spending it. We've lost money on so many deals. We've always underpriced, and we've done so much of that. But that relationship ROI took some time to come in.
Yeah.
And I'm like, now I can really see that. And I'm like, I will 100% continue that. Exactly the same math. Why would I break it if it's working?
Yeah.
You know, and I'll keep putting in my effort into relationships and push that on, because I think you just don't know when you need to pick up the phone and say, hey, I need a referral. Hey, I need to ask for this advice. Or, hey, I think I have something for you.
Yeah.
And that's the best. That's the best advantage you have as a business owner, is you are now in the network, the biggest network in the world.
Yeah.
You know, problem solvers. So
yeah.
I look forward to catching up next week.
Yeah.
Guys, thank you so much for watching. If you've liked this episode, please like and subscribe. We are posting weekly on Spotify, on YouTube, on TikTok, everywhere. So make sure you check us out and leave any feedback or questions to us. I think we need to pick up our DMs again. We've got some few questions to answer as well. But we're back on the weekly. Thank you for watching.
See you next week.